Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin D'Onofrio. And the Yankees are up 2-0 in the ALCS, beating the Guardians last night. On Monday night, 5-2, beating the Guardians last night, 6-3. I think the biggest takeaway from last night's game is what happened in the seventh inning. Aaron Judge finally coming through and hitting that two-run homer. Because if he can get hot, there is no way this team loses this series at all. There's no way this team loses this series if he can get hot. Because Rizzo's hitting, Soto's hitting, with those two other guys hitting. Glaber's done a decent job in the leadoff spot. So with those two guys hitting, and Volpe's been doing pretty well. So with those guys hitting, if Stan could get hot, there's no way the Yankees lose the series. That's why I feel like that home run in the seventh inning last night was very, very important. I know they might have won it anyway. I think they would have won the game anyways, but that home run was so crucial in the seventh inning for his confidence.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think because it's been such a struggle, and hopefully that does get the monkey off his back because it's been tough. I know, like. Game one, he had first and second there, nobody out, and inch below the zone, and that was a tough strike two call to take. And and the strikeouts have kind of piled up for him in the postseason. And so hopefully he had a pretty good at bats. He had a sac fly too. So if they can get him going, hopefully Wells too. I know last night he really showed that high heater. And hopefully you get to go into it that cleanup spot because they're rolling like with Judge and Boy Sands in the postseason. Yeah, it's gonna be tough out because you could say too they really haven't even played like an A game yet. Like it's been okay, but they're kind of still have not played that A game.
No, they really haven't. Because if you look at the games they won, the first game against the Royals, Garrett Cole didn't pitch that well. The offense bailed them out. The second game they won, I mean, they really didn't hit that well, but Stan had a huge game in game 3 against the Royals. And in game 4, they didn't really hit that well either, but Garrett Cole bailed them out. They had a really good game. And then in game 1, Rondon pitched really well, but Judge continued to struggle. And then and last night Cole struggled, but the bullpen picked notes. They really haven't had an A game, but they've been the more talented team, and they're definitely the most talented team of any of the American League teams left in the postseason when the division series started. So they really haven't played an A game, but it's been good enough to be up 2-0 on the Guardians.
Yeah, it has, and they took care of business too at home because they only were 7 games over 500 at home this year, and they're 19 games up on the road, so they've been a much better road team this year too. So it's good that they got the home. They took care of home field there and go up 2-0 against a Guardian team that kind of has looked a little bit kind of overwhelmed in the series. I know a lot of guys first time in the postseason, and with the Yankees, if when they get that A game, because it's gonna be great because you might Cole didn't pitch great. He kind of walked a couple guys. At least he didn't miss over the heart of the plate, which is always a positive. He didn't get to start last night from him, but the bullpen really picked him up last night, and to go up 2-0 is huge against a Guardians team too. That's inexperienced as well in the postseason.
Two things here. Yeah, the bullpen. Just this postseason has been absolutely phenomenal. It's been the strength of the team. It's been absolutely phenomenal. And you got to give Aaron Boone credit. You got to give Aaron Boone credit for defining roles for this bullpen. Having Luke Weaver be the ninth inning guy, having Canely be that eighth inning guy, having Clay Holmes be that sixth, seventh inning guy. After when they blew that save in early September, Holmes blew another save in early September. We knew this team was not winning a World Series with Clay Holmes as the closer. And Aaron Boone, instead of sticking with Holmes, he did the right thing. He made adjustments. He went to Luke Weaver as the closer, and it's worked. And it has been so good for this team. That that was a great move by Aaron Boone fixing the bullpen, and it has been absolutely phenomenal. I think they've only allowed 2 earned runs in the entire postseason. And last night they're up 6-2 in Premier's at the homer, but they have been so good in this postseason, and I give credit to Aaron Boone for that.
Yeah, he finally made the change to take Holmes out. It only took a couple months to figure it out that hey, maybe he shouldn't be closing anymore. But yeah, it's worth. And he's put Clay Holmes in some leverage spot this postseason. And I know he came in last night with the bases loaded. He gave up the sac fly, but he got out of it there still with the lead, which is all you kind of want. So yeah, Luke Weaver has been really, really good. I don't know if I would have pitched him last night, especially against the heart of the order, because like Ramirez gets another look at him in the short series. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Ramirez has been a guy who's been struggling for the Guardians, and that kind of gives him a little bit of confidence. Yeah, that's a good point there.
Yeah, so like other than that, I do think Boone's done a pretty good job managing so far this postseason. But again, he hasn't been in that critical spot in the ninth inning where in the tie, like that big moment yet. So we'll see what he does there. But yeah, so far he's done a good job. He hasn't.
I disagree there. He hasn't been in that critical spot. It was 6-5 in the Royal game. It was 3-2 against the Royals. He's been in he was in some critical spots in the division series.
Yeah, that's 6-5 game. So yeah, he hasn't messed it up totally yet, which is good. But yeah, you're going up against a guy, Stephen Vogt, on the other side that's first year in this too, and made a lot of kind of changes, with putting, with pitch hitting guys and but yeah, so he's Boone's done a pretty good job so far this postseason, and we'll see. And there was obviously a lot of pressure with going up against 3 other Central teams in the division series. It was kind of like the Yankees. There's no excuses to not get the World Series.
Yeah, there definitely is no excuse not to get to the World Series, and we'll talk about now how the Yankees close out this series, how the Yankees end up putting the Guardians away. And number one, the Judges got to stay hot. Judges got to stay hot. This lineup, then Soto and Rizzo got to Soto and Stanton and Rizzo got to stay hot. And and I would love the 4 of them to hit together, but the 3 should definitely be hitting together. Soto, Stanton, and Judge should be hitting together. The one biggest criticism I've had this postseason is Austin Wells in the 4 hole. They need to get Austin Wells out of the 4 hole. I'd move him down to 8. He's hitting 0.91 in the postseason. Is in the 4 hole. They need to get Austin Wells out of the 4 hole. I know they're not changing it because they're winning. Well, if you have him in the 4, if he's still in the 4 hole against the Mets or the Dodgers, this lineup, they're putting themselves at a disadvantage against 2 really good lineups in the Mets and Dodgers. If they get to the World Series, he's in the 4 hole. He needs to get out of the 4 hole. I don't care if they're winning. He needs to get out of the 4 hole.
They like the lefty-righty stuff.
Oh, stop. This analytics nonsense. I'm so tired of it. The Stanton, Judge, Soto, back to back. That wins you championships, not this analytics nonsense with Judge with Wells in the middle. Put those 3 together, please. I'd love the 4 of them to be. I'd love Rizzo to be after them. My lineup is right now is Torres 1, Soto 2, Judge 3, Stanton 4, Rizzo 5, Chisholm 6, Volpe 7, Wells 8, Verdugo 9. I do not want to see Austin Wells hitting 4th. I know they're up 2-0 and they're 2 wins away from the World Series. I am tired of seeing Austin Wells hit 4th.
Yeah, he had a really good rookie year. I like how Boone is sticking with him, at least in the lineup, but he hasn't gone to Trevino yet because obviously Wells is your catcher of the future, and he had a really nice rookie year.
Listen, if you're hitting a guy in 4th, you should not be thinking about Jose Trevino in that spot. You should be thinking of, you'd want Austin Wells in the spot if you're hitting him 4th. If you're hitting him 8th, yeah, you're thinking of benching him, but you should be thinking, if there's talking about benching him, there's no way you should be hitting cleanup.
No, I know. I don't know if there is. I just I'm surprised Boone hasn't said, okay, let's just sit you down for a game and figure it out hitting wise. Because usually that's what Boone does. But I'm glad Boone has just stuck with him. Yeah, it's probably time to move him down a couple spots there. And yeah, I would move Stanton up. I don't know why, but yeah, they're winning. They're not going to make any dramatic changes, I guess, right now. in this spot. But yeah, like if you play Dodgers, the Mets, yeah, it could be a disadvantage, especially too. Like it feels like every game, Torres and Soto are getting on base in the first inning, and they've had
Yeah.
the opportunities to
Yeah.
jump on their opponents early. And I know Judge is struggled too, and he hasn't totally got it done, but. Yeah, like if they continue to do that, get guys on for a second, you want to jump on them, especially against this Guardian team that has a lights out bullpen that you don't really want to be trailing, late in a game against.
No, you don't want to be. Yeah, so I think they got to make that adjustment to the lineup. Number 2, though, the pitching's got to be a little bit more consistent. Starting pitching. Now there have been Garrett Cole was great in Game 4 in the clinching game against Kansas City. Last night he was okay. Rondon, he was great in Game 1 against the Guardians. He was not good against the Royals. The starting and Clark Schmidt was pretty good in Game 3 against the Royals. But the starting pitching is got to be more consistent. If they're gonna completely put the Guardians away and win the World Series, the starters got to be more consistent. I mean, they've gotten away with it because the bullpen has been downright phenomenal, but the starting pitching is got to be a little bit more consistent here.
Yeah, it does. And I think Rendon talked about because as you saw in that Royal Series, he was way too amped up for that game, and he had nothing less by the fourth inning. And he said he talked to Cole about that, and you could see he was really did not let out his emotions that game, which is good. So again, we finally kind of last year was ugly for him. This year he had some bright moments, some ugly moments, but like he's starting to kind of that game Monday night kind of lived up to at least part of that contract that the Yankees gave him. So they're going to need him to continue to do that. Yeah, Schmidt, again, you're going to usually get out of Schmidt. You're going to get like 5 innings. You're going to get, maybe he gives up like 3 runs. He'll keep you in a game most times. And then, think it would be heel Game 4, which would be interesting to kind of see his first opportunity in a postseason spot. And I know Nestor's throwing today at Yankee Stadium. So I guess maybe for the World Series, I wouldn't think he starts, but maybe you could use him as a reliever. And Nestor fits really well down the stretch there. So yeah, they definitely need more consistency out of the staff here. And you hope Cole gets a bounce back against if they continue. This game goes 5-6 games, and Cole gets another spot. I expect him to bounce back, but yeah, they definitely need more consistency out of this pitching staff or from the starters.
Oh yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. And Cole will probably pitching. If Cole pitches again, it'll be in Game 6 on that. He'll be well rested. It'll be in Game 6 on Monday night if they even get to Game 6. Which, looking at how it is right now, I thought I predicted Yankees in 6 before the series, but I don't think it's getting to Game 6 the way the series is looking at it now. And now we'll move to the Guardians, and I think really, what do they need to do to get back in the series? And number 1, they need their starting pitchers to give them some length. Their starting pitchers are giving them no length at all, and really looking at the depth of that rotation, I think it's going to be the same story in Cleveland. This rotation is not pitching well. They're relying too much on this bullpen, and it looks like and you can't. I know how great the Guardian bullpen is, but it looks like you're going to wear them out. So really, the starters need to give them some sort of length, at least 5 innings to rest their bullpen. So Volk has got to stick. Volk is either got to stick with these starters, or the starters got to give them length, or this Guardian team could get swept if the starters keep pitching the way they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Boyd's going to go in Game 3. He went 4 innings and 1 and 2 2/3, and he's only made like 8 starts this season. So yeah, I don't know how deep he's going to go. And yeah, because with that bullpen, like this team, like if they can get out like in the first 5 innings, get out to a lead, like Clase only gave up 4 runs all year. Like if you can get him in the 8th, 9th, 9th inning in this series, I only gave it the home run in Detroit and in one of the games, but like that's a guy that he just didn't have his stuff that day. He's probably gonna have the rest of the postseason when he gets in there. So yeah, and they need it too for Cleveland as well, because you saw the first guy they brought in Monday night, can tell you, like he threw 4 wild pitches. Like that guy had so many nerves, and that's kind of, you put your bullpen in a tough spot, and they didn't really get a big outing yesterday from Bivey, which they're kind of number 2, but moved to number 1 after Bieber got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just it's definitely a struggle for the Guardians. And another thing I think that's got to happen, and it did hit a home run last night. Jose Ramirez got to get going. There's no way they come back if Jose Ramirez doesn't get going, because if that happens, yeah, it adds more depth to this lineup. But Jose Ramirez has got to get going. He's hitting under 200 in the series. If he doesn't get going, there's no way the Guardians not only win the series not only win the series, there's no way they take this thing back to New York if Jose Ramirez doesn't get going.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about it a few minutes ago. Like, hope for his sake, you hope that home run for him kind of gets his back going, and kind of maybe somebody that's been more affected of having the 6 days off, in between. Yeah, because they need that middle of the order to get going. Like, Josh Nail is only 214 this postseason. Lane Thomas down that 5 holes had a really nice postseason, but yeah, they've kind of that lineup's not very deep. They can't really get into a slugfest, and they really need their kind of middle of the order guys to get on and kind of produce, because like it's not a very deep lineup, and they've really kind of struggled to manufacture runs, and they've really relied on the pitching staff to kind of keep games close this year, and they find ways of win games 4-3, 3-2, but can be a little bit tougher there in the postseason when you do get lineups that have more depth than you.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it is definitely tougher. Yeah, when you got lines with depth, it's definitely tougher. So, prediction for the series right now, I said Yankees in 6. I'm going to change it. I'm going Yankees in 5 here. I think the Yankees. I think they finish it off Saturday night, and they make their World Series appearance in 15 years. First World Series appearance in 15 years. I got the Yankees in 5. Justin, I'm assuming you're picking the Yankees at this point. How many games you got the Yankees winning this in?
Yeah, I'm with you in 5. I think Cleveland gets 1 at home, but yeah, I think the way the Yankees have played on the road, and again, we talked about they haven't played great yet. Like, one of these games, they got to probably play an 8 game. So I do think Cleveland steals 1 here, but yeah, I don't think this thing goes back to New York. I think the Yankees should be able to finish here in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think they finish it off in Cleveland and have almost a week of rest before the World Series. But moving on to the NLCS, and I think this series is going to be much more competitive than the ALCS. We got the Dodgers and the Mets. Dodgers dominate the Mets in Game 1, but the Mets, like they've done all year long, they fight back with that with Dave Roberts who made that mistake walking Lindor. Vientos makes him pay. It's the grand slam. Mets go on to win that game 7-3. Big Game 3 at Citi Field tonight between these two teams. And the big question is who has the edge right now in the series? I know the Mets are at home right now, but I'm still going to go with the Dodgers. And this is why. If you look at these two teams, the rotations, I think I think the Mets do have the slight edge with the rotation. The Mets lineup is hitting better in the postseason, but I still think the Dodgers lineup has more talent. And the bullpen, I think the bullpen for the Dodgers, you saw 33 consecutive scoreless innings. Not from all from their bullpen. I mean, Yamamoto and Flaherty has something to do with it, but I think their bullpen is clearly better than the Mets, and because I think that's the biggest disparity in the series. Lineups are close, rotations, Mets are better but are close, but the biggest disparity in the series is the bullpens, and the Mets lost two of their games in this postseason because of their bullpens. Two of their losses they had the lead. I know we talk about all their comebacks, but 2 of their losses they had the lead in the 8th inning. So. It's close, but I'm going to say the Dodgers have the edge in this series. Even though it's 1-1 going to New York, the Dodgers have the edge.
I'm going to go with the Mets here. I think now that they got the home field, there's just something about this Mets team right now. And, now they go home, and I don't love Buehler going to Game 3. I thought Dave Roberts, like, going with the bullpen game in Game 2, like, have Wheeler go Game 2, have Yamamoto go Game 3. I don't, because Buehler hasn't pitched well at all. Now, if he gets off to an ugly start here, the way the Mets are rolling, and that place is going to be on fire. So because I do think the Mets win today, and so Severino, I know they didn't have a great second half of the year, but I really just don't trust Walker Buehler in this spot. I just don't, and I think the Mets go up 2-1, and I think they're able to kind of control it, and they go up 2-1. That Citi Field's gonna be electric tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's a great point. That is a great point about the Yamamoto Buehler thing. I don't get that from Dave Roberts. I would have done the same thing. I would have went with Yamamoto. Yamamoto pitched a great Game 5 to get you to this point, and you went out in the offseason and spent money to get Yamamoto. I would have definitely pitched you. I don't get that either. And now, yeah, you're right. You're risking momentum. The Mets are going to get momentum. You saw the momentum in the division series against the Phillies. You're now the Mets are going to get momentum. This is a wraparound. This is a series where there's 3 straight home games for the Mets. They didn't lose a game at Citi Field. So, yeah, I do think that's a really good point about Buehler pitching in Game 3. But why I think the Dodgers I do think the Dodgers still have the edge is I do think Yamamoto pitches and wins in Game 4. And then Game 5, Senga pitched so poorly, and they got Flaherty on the mound. So I think, but I do think that's a really good point you made about Buehler, about not pitching Yamamoto. And Yamamoto's rested. He's had, 4 days. He's pitching on normal rest. Yeah, it's a really good point about pitching Buehler over Yamamoto, seeing the way Buehler pitched in Game 3 of the NLDS.
Yeah, because I know they didn't try to throw the game away, but it almost feels like, okay, we're up 1-0. Let's just throw a bullpen game here. Let's just see if we can get out of this thing, 2-0 and just try. But yeah, like now with Buehler going to Game 3, it really kind of turns the tables. And yeah, with Senga going, they're in Game 5. Yeah, I don't know if I'd start him the way he's looked. Like he hasn't really thrown much at all this year. So yeah, and the way Flaherty's pitched, and I know Yamamoto got kind of hit around that first start against San Diego, but he's looked better now. But yeah, to not have him, you're paying him $325 million, to not have him go on, regular rest.
Yeah,
it's a little head scratching. I don't know. Could come back to haunt him.
It definitely could. I wouldn't be surprised. It definitely could come back. It definitely can come back to haunt the Dodgers there. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But now we'll talk about what do both these teams have to do to take control of the series and win the series, because by the time we're on the air next Wednesday, this series will be over. So what do the Mets? We'll start with the Mets. What do the Mets got to do to take control of the series and win this series? And I think number one, these lineups just got to keep hitting the way it has all postseason. This lineup has hit better than any lineup in the postseason. If they continue to hit, they're gonna. I think they're gonna win it. I think there's a good chance they win. They get to the World Series if they continue to hit in this series. So the lineup's got to keep being better. Continue to have the starting pitching. The starting pitching has been really good. Continue to pitch the way they pitch with Manaea, with Quintana, and Severino. Just continue to have those guys pitch the way they've been able to pitch. And then number 3. The bullpen is got to get it done. The bullpen doesn't get it done. I think that could be the biggest difference. They'll hit well. They'll probably pitch well. If the bullpen doesn't get it done, I think that'll be the one thing that has been the Achilles heel all year. I think it'll be the one thing that holds them back in the World Series. Justin, what do the Mets got to do to take control and win this series?
What they got to do here in this one, I'll start too with the bullpen. They got to continue to get outs, and I know Diaz has showed a little bit late in games. I know Beto struggled there Sunday night. They've blown a couple, but I think for the most part, Reed Garrett's been pretty good. Stanek's been, he's been pretty good too. Besides that, like one game Philly gave up a run. The bullpen hasn't been awful, so if they continue to get outs late in the game, Diaz can kind of figure it out and kind of stick more with the fastball. When he threw 20 of them straight the other day to kind of get them out with the win when it looked like they were meeting a bit of trouble there. And I'm with you too with the lineup 1 through 9. They've continued to produce, and again, like it's so crucial to get like those 7, 8, 9 guys on, because they turn the lineup over, and the way Lindor's hitting and Vientos, they can get on. Those guys have been producing at the top of the order, so they manufacture runs. And then I think with being at home, get off to those fast starts with that crowd and just kind of get the momentum, ride it. I know the Dodger bullpen's been really good, but like somebody like Buehler today, if you can get him in trouble early, maybe knock him out really early, and maybe set up Dodgers bullpen to kind of be in a little bit of trouble for next couple for the remainder of the series. So, I think it's another big one for the Mets get off the fast starts.
So for the Dodgers, what do they got to do to take control of this series and get to the World Series? And for me, the lineup's got to be more consistent. I mean, you're seeing a lot from the Dodgers: 8 runs, then 2 runs, 9 runs, then 3 runs. The lineup's got to be more consistent. It starts with Shohei. Shohei's got to be the guy in the postseason that he's always been in the regular season. He's got to be the guy. Betts is sitting for a low average, but he's had some big home runs. But Shohei has got to be the guy in the postseason. He's been in the regular season. The lineup has got to be more consistent for the Dodgers. Number 2, they need Yamamoto, their top 2 pitchers, Yamamoto and Flaherty, to pitch the way they have their last 2 games. If they do, and they're probably going to be pitching in games 4 and 5. If they do, there's a great chance. If they pitch really well in games 4 and 5, there's a really good chance they win this series and get to and get back to the World Series for the first time since the COVID year when they won it in 2020. So those 2 guys got to be good. And number 3, bullpen continue to be as great as they are, as they've been. Bullpen continue to be as great as they are. If those 3 things happen, I think we're seeing the Dodgers in the World Series for the first time since the COVID year.
Yeah, for me, for the Dodgers in this one, the lineup, kind of getting consistency from the middle of the lineup. I know Freddie Freeman's, been a little bit banged up. Betts has had a couple of huge hits. Soto's numbers, runners on, he's been awesome. And, Will Smith in the middle of that order right now, he's really off to a cold start. And, he's an all-star catcher. Like, they got to figure it out with him. I don't know if you drop him in the order, they keep him in the middle. They need him to kind of produce there in the middle of that order. Number 2 for me as well is also kind of that bullpen. for the most part, they've been really good. But again, we've talked about the Mets' ability to come back in games too. Like that's late in the game. Michael Kopech's been an awesome pickup for him. He's pitched really well this postseason. He's somebody too that late in games, they've been able to trust, and don't really want to give Mets life late in games. And then number 3 is kind of the rotation as well with Walker Buehler. Again, I don't know what you can get out of him today. He's about to be a free agent, so I know at the end of the year. So I know he wants to have a huge start for the team and also for his future and in free agency. And Flaherty's been a huge pickup for him, and Yamamoto kind of looked like he figured it out in his last start. Last couple after the rough outing in San Diego there. So if you think you mentioned in game 4 and game 5, if Flaherty and Yamamoto could have 2 awesome starts and you can go back up to LA 3-2, I don't think they're losing the series.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they're up 3-2. I definitely think they're winning this. I definitely think they're winning the series. And now for our series predictions, I'm going to go with the Dodgers here. It's going to be really close. I'm going just like 1988 when Earl Hershiser beat the Mets in Game 7. I think the Dodgers win this at Dodger Stadium. I think the Dodgers win 2 out of 3 in New York with Yamamoto and Flaherty. I think they Mets win Game 6 because it would kind of be a bullpen game, but I do think the Dodgers win a Game 7 in New York. I got the Dodgers heading to the World Series to play the Yankees. So I got the Dodgers heading to the World. I got the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series. But Justin, do we get a Subway Series for the first time in 24 years?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Mets here.
Oh, we're going with the Mets.
How
many games?
I'll go with 7. They go different distance here, and the Mets pull one out here in 7. I think it's huge if the Mets can win tonight, and if they can get a split in Game 4, Game 5, and you can go to LA just needing one of 2. I think the Mets could find a way to get one, either get Game 6 or Game 7 and be able to move on. That have been the pitching staff I just think the longer the series goes, the more kind of they're trying to manufacture, trying to figure out ways to get outs. I think that kind of hurts them, and I think the Mets find a way when they get to take advantage.
Yeah. I mean, I guess very easy to see the Mets winning this. I definitely can. They've been a team of destiny all year. I mean, starting with Grimace throwing out the first pitch, then oh my God with Jose Iglesias' song, and then just the way they've played. I think people don't talk about the way they played since June 1st. They've been the best team in baseball since June 1st. They've been solid everywhere. Rotation's been good, lineup's been great, bullpen has been improved. So I could very easily see the Mets winning this series. It's going to be really close. I'm just going with the more talented team here. I'm just going with the more talented team, going with the Dodgers. But I very, very easily could be seeing this being a Subway Series. And I want a Subway Series because I want if the Yankees, and there's a good chance the Yankees beat them win the series, but the Yankees do get to the World Series, I want them to get home field.
Yeah, the home field obviously is going to be huge in that series. And either series that the Yankees potentially will get here, baseball really can't lose with these 2 outcomes, with either outcome. I know.
Yeah.
So, it's to be off for baseball. The Subway Series would be great, and Mendoza too, former Yankee bench coach. He's done an awesome job. Thought he'd be a boon clone, but he's done a really good job.
Awesome job at the Mets. Done an awesome job with that team this year. I mean, who expected the Mets to be here? So he's done a great job.
Yeah, because they were 11 under at the end of May, and then remember they opened with 6 at home in Milwaukee and Detroit, and they were 1-5. And wasn't it Darling was like, this is like rock bottom or something, or Colt?
Yeah.
Or it kind of felt like it'd be a long year, and they figured out they turned it around. And Iglesias, Mark Viento has been a huge surprise, and Lindor has really come on too, especially in the postseason late in the year. He made Ohtani's going to get the MVP, but Lindor made a heck of a push to get in that race.
Oh, he definitely did, and he started things off right at the bat. Started things off in Game 2 and hit a homer. So should be a very interesting series between the Mets and Dodgers, and I think it's coming right down. I think it's with this thing. This one's definitely going 6 or 7. I think it's definitely going 6 or 7 with the way the Mets are playing and how good the Dodgers are. This one's definitely going 6 or 7. But we got a huge game in Austin this weekend, but before we talk about that, we're going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEX Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEX Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
All righty, we got a huge matchup in the SEC in Austin between Georgia and Texas. You got Carson Beck, two top quarterbacks, Carson Beck and the Bulldogs facing Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns. I mean, this should be a great game. This should be just like I don't know if it'll be as good as Bama Georgia, but this should be an outstanding game between these two teams. And the way this college football season's been, this should be a great game. I think it's gonna be an up and down game. I do think the defenses will play decent in this game. I do think it'll come down to the end, either with Beck with the ball in his hands or with Quinn Ewers with the ball in his hands and Georgia making a stop. I do think the difference in this game is I think Georgia will run the football better than Texas. I think that'll be the difference in the game. And I just can't see Kirby Smart losing. I know both were on the road, but I can't see Kirby Smart losing two big games here. I just can't see Kirby losing two big games. That's why I'm going with the Bulldogs here. I'm going with the Bulldogs to beat the Longhorns. I'm going Georgia here. I got Georgia winning this game, and I got to win it close. I got Georgia 31-27 over the Longhorns. But, Justin, can Texas and Steve Sarkisian win a huge game and hand Georgia their second loss of the year?
Yeah, I think Sarkisian and the Longhorns get this thing done.
Wow, we got Georgia losing two. Wow.
Yeah, and first time Georgia's been a dog since 2021, and Kirby's a master motivator. I wouldn't be shocked if they come out and win this game because, again, the year they won in 2022 and they beat TCU, guys were like, people predicted we were going 7-5. I don't know who those people were, but
yeah, I know.
I don't know if they exist because, again, that was their motivation, I guess. But the thing is, like, who has, like, there is, and I think you put a great point. Like, I don't think there is like a real great team this year. Like, I think the playoff is really wide open. I think it could be, you could have a lot of different scenarios of who could win it, which is great because we haven't seen that in a while in college football. But Georgia hasn't been able to run the ball like it usually does. They're 92nd in the country this year. I do think Texas up front is pretty good, and Georgia's defense gave up 35 points to or 31 points to it. Not one of the worst SEC teams at Mississippi State that we've seen in a while. Like, that was a little alarming to me. Maybe it was a look-ahead spot, but Beck's played well. He made a bad turnover last week in the red zone or in the end zone. He had a bad interception. I'll take Texas here at home. I think Ewers gets it done. I like the way that, he's played. Texas played a C- game, I thought, last week, and they still beat Oklahoma by 31, But, again, who has Texas really played at quarterback so far? Like, it's tough to kind of go through and, like, this is the best quarterback this is Georgia's best this is their best team that they're going to face or has been so far.
Yeah, and I think yeah, it definitely is. That's why I'm going with Georgia because I don't think Texas. I know they beat Michigan, they beat Oklahoma, but I don't think those teams are that great this year. I don't think those teams are that good. So that's why I'm going Georgia here. That's why I'm going Georgia here to win this game close. But the question is which team needs this win more? I know Georgia should be good after this game because Tennessee. Let's be honest, Tennessee is overrated. Yeah. We've seen it the last couple of weeks. Tennessee, they almost lost to Florida last week. Tennessee is overrated. So talking about which team needs this game more. I'd still say it's Georgia, even though Texas plays Texas A&M at the end. Say they lose this, and they could potentially lose to A&M at the end of the year. But I'm going Georgia. I think Georgia definitely needs the game more because they already have one loss, and if they lose this, there's a good chance they don't play in the conference championship game.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it's a bigger game for Georgia because having that second loss could be, could really potentially really hamper their chance to get the SEC championship game. And with Texas, Texas A&M. And I think that's going to be at Texas A&M. That's going to be like a thing. I think it's going to be Thanksgiving night, I believe.
I think it is.
Thought they moved it, but I could be wrong.
That could be. Say Texas loses that. That'd be a huge game. That could be a huge game on Thanksgiving night.
Yeah, because A&M 2-3-0, and their schedule's not too bad either. Like there's a chance that could be.
It's nice to see that game back though. I remember they used to play it always on Thanksgiving night. It's nice to see that game back now. Yeah,
it's awesome. I can't believe they didn't during the when Texas A&M left. I thought it was ridiculous, but they couldn't figure a way. But it's great to have that rivalry back. But so I definitely think this means more for Georgia. They should be able to take care of business the rest of the way. But if they can get this one, they are going to be in a better chance here to be kind of in Atlanta playing the SEC championship game. They definitely need this one more.
Oh, they definitely. Now they might be a playoff team at 10-2 because they're an SEC team and they're an SEC team. So there could be a chance there to be a playoff team at 10-2. But to get to the SEC title game, I think they got to win this game. I think they got to win this to get to the title game.
Yeah, they absolutely do because that bye is going to be and that bye is going to be crucial, especially it's so wide open. It gives you only have to play 3 games instead of 4. Like it's it's going to be tough. Like we've not really seen teams have to play like 16, 17 games. It's a lot. We don't they're going to the end of January now. I think change games like January 20th. Like it's it's going to be a couple weeks longer. So I think it's going to be important to get that bye and get the SEC championship game and win that thing where they're going to have home field advantage being in Atlanta.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's important to win this one, and if they win this one, I think they get to the championship game. I think they lose it. There's a chance they don't. So it's still a humongous game between Texas and Georgia on Saturday night. Huge game between those two teams. But we got another really big game in the SEC, and that's between Alabama and Tennessee. And Tennessee has really struggled these last couple of weeks, losing to Arkansas, barely beating Florida last week. Bama struggled too last week. Bama did the same thing. But I think in this game, I think it's a close, competitive game. But I'm going to go with the more experienced and better quarterback here. I'm going to go with Jalen Milroy. Yes, Bama struggled to run the ball, but I'm going to go with Jalen Milroy here. I think they win. I think they might struggle to protect too, but I think Bama's defense is going to force a turnover or 2 from Nico. He's good, but these last couple of games have proven that I think the hype. We got to slow down the hype with this kid. I mean, I know it'll be a top pick next year in the draft, but we got to slow down the hype with this kid. So I'm going with Bama here. I'm going Bama 27-21 over 10 and Rocky Top on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth because something's got to give here. Like Bama's defense has not played well, but yes, as you mentioned, Volunteers' offense has been really stuck in the mud. And the problem with the Volunteers' offense that veer and shoot is it's either they're trying to hit a screen pass or it's trying to hit the long bomb. Like there's no intermediate passing game in this offense. And if you're not connecting downfield, and they don't have the wide receivers on the outside that are like difference makers. Now they could make a difference against Bama secondary. That's not good. We've seen it. Like South Carolina should have probably beat them last week. I'm gonna go Tennessee because it's at home, but I'm tentative on it. Like I'll take them because it's in Rocky Top at home. But Tennessee's offensive line has been awful too. Like that has not helped. I don't know what's gone wrong this year. I thought they was gonna be pretty solid going in the year. They've really struggled to figure it out. But I will take the Vols because they're at home, and Alabama's kind of struggled away from home the last couple of years. They've had some close calls. Like Auburn should have beat them last year on the road, down there in the plains. But I'll take the Vols, but I'm not too confident.
Now the big question is: this is an elimination game. Is this a game that the loser doesn't make the college football playoff? I'm going to say for one team it is, and for one team it isn't. For Tennessee, I think it is. I think it is because Tennessee lost to Arkansas. Even though Bama lost to Vandy, Tennessee lost to Arkansas. I think no. You know, I'm going to change it. I think it is for both teams. I think it is for both teams. I think this is an elimination game. Seeing that Bama lost to Vandy, I think this is an elimination game. I think this is an elimination game for both these two teams. Justin, you think it's an elimination game? Think the loser of this game definitely doesn't make the playoff?
I don't know. Definitely, I think for Bama, because they still got to LSU. If they can't win at Tennessee, that game at Baton Rouge is gonna be a Saturday night. Like I don't see that team going down there to LSU and knocking them off. So I could see Bama. They lose 9-3, and you kind of look at it like that Georgia win's gonna help, but man, like their resume is not great. Like I know they have Missouri at home next week, but Missouri is a giant fraud. They're not a top 20 team. It's ridiculous. They're still in the polls. Where Tennessee, they still got to go to Georgia. And they didn't play anybody in the non-con. Like Kent State's a glorified FCS team. Chattanooga is as well. So same thing with Bama. Like that non-conference is not great. So it's the SEC. So I wouldn't be shocked if the winner of this still sneaks in. But yeah, I think it very possibly could because both teams still are probably going to lose. And I don't know if 9-3 will be enough.
Yeah. No, I think 9-3 doesn't make. I think 9-3 you're out. I think you have to. If you lose. I know. Remember. In the old system, if you lost 2 games, you weren't making it because a 2-loss team never made the college football playoff. I think if you lose 3 games in this system, unless you're a conference champion, I don't think any at-large team can get in with 3 losses. So I think 3 losses, you're out. So yeah, so I think this is a must-win for both these two teams. Even though they only have 1 loss, I still think it's a must-win for both.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you go out. The loser of this has 2 losses, and they still got 1 more each. Tough road game and tough road environment. They probably go down too. So they got to get 12 in. It'll be interesting because they always the SEC is so highly regarded, of course, and I get it. It's usually pretty top heavy, but they're always going to get the benefit of doubt. So I wouldn't be shocked if one of the teams 9-3 gets in from the SEC. But yeah, they got to get 12, and because I don't. Miami and Clemson maybe could get 2. Like if Clemson runs the table, Miami does as well. But so maybe the AC gets 2. But yeah, I think mostly 9-3 is gonna be tough. But I wouldn't be shocked if there's an SEC team 9-3 that sneaks in.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't be there. I would be shocked if someone in the SEC sneaks in at 9-3. But more than likely, I don't think it's going to happen. With the SEC. But we will move on to the top team in the ACC, and that is Miami as they take on Louisville. Cam Ward continues to play really, really well. I think it continues to happen this week. I think it's close and competitive, but I'm going with Cam Ward and the Canes to stay undefeated. But Justin, can the Cardinals hand? I know Miami's been close a bunch of times, a few times this year. Can the Cards hand the Hurricanes their first loss?
I do. Big game Jeff Brom here. Yeah, I'm gonna take them 35-31. I really have not liked the way Miami should have probably lost the last 2 weeks here. And the problem, like Cal had a ton of explosive plays through the air against them, and Cal's passing offense is nothing spectacular. I think Tyler Shucks played really well this year, and I think Louisville's gonna hit some big plays through the air. And I think Miami's running game's gonna struggle a bit because Louisville up front, they got some NFL caliber guys. So I think Cam Ward last couple of weeks has made that bad throw that he should stay away from. And I think Louisville at home, Jeff Brom usually does well in a big game. Miami's kind of been asking to lose, and I think this is a week where Louisville gets it done. They hit a couple big explosive plays through the air, and then they win this game.
Here's something I don't get. I don't get the point spread of this Nebraska Indiana game. How the heck is Indiana a 6.5 point favorite against a quarterback like Dylan Raiola? I don't understand that one bit. How they're a 6.5 point favorite in this game. I don't think they've beaten anybody. I think Indiana's beaten anybody. And they were one of the worst teams in college football last year. They haven't beaten anyone. I know they're 6-0.
Who's Nebraska beating? That's not.
I know, but come on. Look at what Nebraska's got at quarterback, okay? Look at Nebraska's quarterback. Look at the young quarterback Nebraska has, okay? I'm sorry. They should not be a 6.5 point underdog, and I'm going Nebraska here. I'm going with Dylan Raiola. Indiana is completely overrated. I know they're improved. They're a complete fraud at number 16. I'm sorry. I mean, Nebraska's winning this game. I got them 27-24. But Justin, will Indiana stay undefeated? And are they really the 16th ranked team in the country?
I don't know if they're the 16th best team, but this is a good football team.
Good team? When was the last time Indiana had a good team? When they had Michael Penix 4 years ago?
Yeah, and they were finished 5-3.
I know. They won that game. They won that game against Penn State. That game in overtime.
Yeah, that call. Yeah, Man, because I think they won the title in Big Ten like 70, 73, 76. It's been a while. It's been one of the worst Power 5 conference teams out there for a long time. It's good for Indiana. They're a football program now. They ain't a basketball school anymore.
That's crazy to say that.
UConn's about to, the UConn's about to steal 2 recruits from IU. About a half hour, one of them. But yeah, and this one, like, I don't know, Indiana. This is probably the best defense they face. They haven't been totally tested, but Raiola going on the road. Curtis Warwick, the Ohio trainer, he's been banged up the last year. He's been outstanding. And I talked to Indiana a little bit last week. Kurtz, that dude just wins football games. Like he's a winner. And Indiana, them and Army, the only 2 teams that have not trailed for a single second this year. So IU plays from in front. Dylan Raiola, he's had some freshman moments that aren't great. I think IU continues to roll. And I think they get this one. Fox Noon's going to be there. Like I think it's be a huge deal there in Indiana. So I'm going to take the Hoosiers yet again here to move to 7-0 and be a surprise.
All righty, so we got an AC matchup between Virginia and Clemson, and I think this game's going to blow out. I think Clemson cruises here. I got them winning it 31-10 over UVA.
Yeah, I get Clemson here as well, 31-17. UVA, these defenses isn't great. Anthony Caldera, their sophomore quarterback, he's looked better this year than he did last year. He's making a little bit less mistakes, but Phil Maffa, the Clemson running back's gone over 100 yards in 4 of the 6 games. Tony Elliott, the Virginia head coach, is a former kind of OC with the Dabo, so kind of understands. But this K Club, like the way he's playing, I think Clemson wins this one, 38-17.
We got an SEC matchup in Columbia as overrated Missouri takes on Auburn, but I think Missouri wins this game. Auburn is 2-4. I got Missouri here 27-17.
I'm going Auburn with the win on the road
here.
Whoa!
You don't like Missouri for some reason.
No, I think Brady Cook's regressed this year. They're frauds. Like, I don't think the defense is that good. Like, Connor Wegman's not that great of a quarterback, and he did whatever he wanted to a couple weeks ago. A&M ran all over him. Hugh Freeze finally next year is going to have his quarterback come in. They just got a flip from a 5-star from Notre Dame. And I just think Auburn coming off a bye here, I just think they're going to be able to run the football and be able to keep Brady cooking that offense off the field. And I think Auburn goes in there and beats them, and I think they move to 3-4. I think the Missouri are total frauds this year, and I think it's ridiculous that they're still in the top 25. But, I guess beating UMass by 50 does something for you, I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's, yeah, you have not been impressive. Almost lost to Vanderbilt, got crushed at A&M. They have not been impressive this year. Interesting matchup in Atlanta between Notre Dame and Georgia Tech. I got Notre Dame here. I think they run the football. I think Riley Leonard outplays Haynes King. I got the Irish here. But, Justin, can the Yellow Jackets, we saw what they did in Ireland on opening the first college football game of the year. Can they beat the Irish and pretty much end their college football playoff hopes?
I don't think so. I got Notre Dame 2014. Haynes King might not play. His shoulder's been banged up. Now, even if he does play, because he is such a dual threat guy with his legs, I don't know how much you're running him with a shoulder injury. And I think so. I think that could be a huge loss. And Notre Dame did lose one of the best cornerbacks in the country, Benjamin Morris. He's going to be like a first-round pick, probably the second or third corner off the board. So I don't know if it's going to hurt that much in this game, but maybe in the future it will. But Riley Leonard's starting to play really well. I think that running game does enough. And this game is played in Mercedes-Benz, so you're probably got more Notre Dame fans than Georgia Tech fans. So, like, it's not going to be a great home environment for Georgia Tech. So I get the Irish win by 2 scores in this one.
I apologize for not putting this game in the rundown, but it was a ranked game in the Big Ten. I forgot. I skipped over it in the rundown. You probably know which one it is. It's in Champaign. We got Michigan and Illinois here. We got a matchup. The 2-1 loss teams in the Big Ten. I think this is pretty much an elimination game. Whoever loses this has no shot has no shot. I mean, yeah, if Illinois beats Michigan, it's pretty much all over for Michigan. There's no way they make the playoffs. So I'm going to go Michigan here, though, with their season on the line. I'll go Michigan. I think they run the ball better than Illinois. I think they win a close one here. I got to win at 24-20. But, Justin, can the Illini ruin the Wolverine season?
I think they could keep this. I think that's very possible. I got Wolverine 23-20. Jack Tuttle's going to be starting. He's been in Maryland, Indiana. He's been playing, I guess, shoulder injury last year. I guess it's a pain tolerance thing at this point. So he's their best passer. So, Michigan actually does have somebody who can throw the football this week. And Illinois has been very explosive through the passing game, which you don't usually get with a Brett Bielema offense. But Luke Allmeyer's played really well. He's looked a lot better this year. And then wide receiver Zaire Franklin's had made some big plays. So I could see Illinois upsetting Michigan here, but I do think the Wolverines, that defense with Jack Tuttle, I do think they find a way to get out of Champaign with a victory.
Big game in Fayetteville as you got LSU and Arkansas. It's a tricky game for LSU, especially after their emotional win last week against Ole Miss. I think this is a close, competitive game, but I'm going to take the team with the better quarterback and Garrett Nussmeier and the better coach in Brian Kelly. I think LSU survives here. I got LSU over Arkansas 30-24, but Justin, can Arkansas knock LSU from the ranks of the unbeaten in the SEC?
Yeah, I got the Razorbacks. I got them at home, 27-23, the battle for the Golden Boot. It's usually a pretty, usually a pretty good game, usually, and they're fighting Sam Pittman's. I thought this guy was going to be fired, but they could go 5-2 with still Louisiana Tech on the board, so they could go bowling. And I think Bobby Petrino here, I think he's going to bring his best stuff here. I think Taylor Green plays well enough, and I do think they may move the ball against the LSU defense, and I think Garrett Nussmeier plays well, but again, emotional game, overtime, storming the field. Never usually good the next week. And I think Arkansas here at home Saturday night, I'll take the Razorbacks. Move 5-2.
Fun fact about this game. The one thing I remember about this rivalry was in 2007, Felix Jones and Darren McFadden, they upset them at LSU, but LSU ended up winning the national title game. Remember, everybody thought LSU was done when they upset them, and then LSU ends up going to the national championship game. That's a fun fact there about LSU Arkansas, this rivalry. It was the day after Thanksgiving. You always play the day after Thanksgiving, these two teams.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah, it's setting up to feel like 07 this year with the way things are going. It's been crazy. And remember 07, that LSU team, Darren McFadden ran all over them, and they found a way to still get there and get that national championship. Yeah, it was I do remember that. That was like the first year I remember watching college football, because that first game I remember was App State Michigan game. So that's how I got hooked on college football. Kind of that first game of that season.
And you've been hooked ever since.
Yeah, I have. So yeah. Sports not turning great, but
You say?
All the realignment stuff's not trending great, but hey, they're still playing, so still playing on Saturdays.
Exactly. Big 12 matchup in Ames as we got Central Florida taking on Iowa State, number 6 Iowa State. I know I'm questioning if they're really the number 6 team in the country or not, but I think they win this one. They win this one by 2 scores. I got Iowa State 30-34-20, but Justin, can KJ Jefferson and Central Florida knock the Cyclones from the ranks of the unbeaten?
Yeah, I thought the UCF was gonna be better this year. They're just not. KJ Jefferson got benched last week for Jakari Brown. He was decent. UCF cannot get pressure on a quarterback. They only have 5 sacks on the year. They couldn't get pressure when they played New Hampshire, which I thought our offensive line would be pretty good. Not great, but Rocco Beck's been pretty good. I thought he played well last week, going to Morgantown, getting a win. I think they'll be able to run the football in this one, keep the ball out of UCF's hands. I think they win 30-16.
All righty, we got a Big 12 matchup in Morgantown between Kansas State and West Virginia. And I got Kansas State here. I think they run the ball with Giddens. I think they control the clock. I think they win a close one here. I got Kansas State here. They won a close one at Colorado last week, and they win a close one here. I got Kansas State winning this one 27-20 over West Virginia. But can West Virginia hand Kansas State their second loss of the year?
Yeah, I'll take the Mountaineers here. It's always tough.
Oh, you're going with McAfee's team. You're going with McAfee's team.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, last week I thought they had a chance last week to beat Iowa State. They didn't. But Garrett Green he threw 2 bad interceptions second half, and it led to 14 points for Iowa State. So if they clean up that mess. Avery Johnson got banged up last week. They didn't run him much at all. He did get hurt. He went to the locker room at one point in that game. So I don't know how healthy he is, and he's such a big dual threat guy for him. And I could see him make a mistake or two, and I'll take West Virginia here at home on a Saturday night. Morgantown's always usually rocking, so I think it's a tough one for him. I'll take West Virginia, get out of there 27-24.
All righty, we'll wrap up talking about Oklahoma State and BYU. BYU undefeated, facing 500 Oklahoma State, and I think they continue that way. I think they beat Oklahoma State by 2 scores. But Justin, can the Cowboys knock the Cougars from the ranks of the unbeaten?
Coming off a bye, this team looked like they quit a couple weeks ago, West Virginia. I don't know what Oklahoma State team we're going to get here on Friday night. It's Prover at night. It's, I should have learned my lesson when they play Kansas State. I got BYU 24-16. Jake Resler, their quarterback, I think he's like a poor man's like Taysom Hill pretty much. So he's played decently, and I think they'll be led by that defense because Oklahoma State's offense with Bowman, they haven't been able to run the football. Their O-line has taken a big step back. So I think BYU wins this one again and remains undefeated here in the Big 12.
Yeah, it should be an interesting week of college football. Great games, highlighted by those two big games in the SEC. It should be another. We've had some great weeks of college football. Should be another great week of college football. Week 8 of the college football season on Saturday. But we will wrap up talking about the WNBA and the WNBA finals. Lynx and Liberty tied at a game apiece. Lynx came back and won game 1 in New York. Liberty tied the series on Sunday. My prediction is I think this is going 5. I think this thing's going 5 with the two UConn stars, Nafisa Collier and Brianna Stewart. I think it's going 5, but I got to still go with the more talented team here. I got the Liberty winning their first championship, but I think this thing's going 5 games.
Yeah, I'm with you. This has a feel of going 5. The Liberty kind of lost opportunity in game 1, blowing 18-point lead. But yeah, I expect the Lynx kind of role players now to play a little bit better now that they go home. But I do think the Liberty get out here to the split and are able to win the game 5 on their floor there. And yeah, I think Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart bring home a championship to New York.
I agree. I think Ionescu and Brianna Stewart bring home that title. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin D'Onofrio, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back next week talking about Week 8 of the NFL season. We'll be doing our we'll be at the World Series will be set, so we'll do our World Series preview. And with the season starting in less than a week, we will have our NBA season preview, and Week 9, we'll be talking about Week 9 of the college football season. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.